But my mission and statement in life is intercede, inspire, and invest. Hi there, beautiful YouTube. Welcome back to Vintagely Yours. For those of you who are new here, and I know there are quite a few of you who are, this channel is dedicated to honoring, remembering, and preserving civilian history on the American home front during World War II. I'm Chloe Jean, and today is a momentous occasion because tomorrow, July 31st, is actually my first anniversary on YouTube. It's been really rewarding, a little crazy, and a lot of it stressful, but today I decided to honor this momentous occasion by asking all of my followers and subscribers to ask me things about myself and the channel, just kind of to get to know me a little better and kind of celebrate our 1-year anniversary together. So that is the subject of today's video. So let's dive in. The first question on my list is, what is my favorite summer activity? My favorite summertime activity on the planet is actually swimming. I grew up swimming like every summer at this really beautiful local state park, and so I love going there still, and it just brings a lot of memories from my childhood back when I go there, and so I like doing that. Okay, next question is a little harder, but what is my mission statement in life? And this took me quite a while to kind of mull over, but my mission and statement in life is intercede, inspire, and invest. So intercede is not only like, you know, interceding in the usual manner, but really standing up for the people and the things that matter most to me. And inspire, I want to inspire not only here on the channel, but in my modern everyday life, just for people to follow their dreams and their passions, because each of us are very unique and we can all make the world a better place if we act on our dreams. And invest is one that I'm actually working on a lot right now, and that's just to invest in the people around me. So if it's engaging on Instagram or on YouTube or even in the people closer to home, just making sure that I'm there for them and showing them that I care about them, that's my term of investment. So our next question is another fun one. What is my favorite movie? I actually don't have a favorite movie, but this kind of ties into another question that someone asked me, which is, what are my favorite movies? Now, my favorite movie from a vintage world is 1940s James Stewart, Margaret Sullivan's Shop Around the Corner. I don't know what it is about it, but I just love it. And then other movies, I have a favorite movie from like every genre except horror. So probably my most favorite one is probably 3 movies, but it's the Lord of the Rings trilogy directed by Sir Peter Jackson. A lot of good memories with that, but it is just well written and well acted, and the memes are awesome. The story is epic. I just could go on forever, but yeah, that is kind of my favorite, but I also am rather fond of like spy stories and mysteries and action and thriller. I don't really know, but I mean, I'm very fond of Marvel movies, in particular Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Captain America the First Avenger. And then probably my favorite like war movie would have to be Saints and Soldiers, Airborne Creed. If you have not seen that and you're a World War II buff, you need to go ahead and watch them. There's actually 3, Saints and Soldiers, Airborne Creed, and Saints and Soldiers The Void, and they're just really well written, and they are rated PG-13, but they are not graphic or gory in any way, which Chloe is very, very fond of, because Chloe doesn't like gore. So I hope that answered your questions about my favorite movies. The next question is where I live. And while the exact location is to remain classified, I can say that I live in the American South. And this also leads me to my next question, which is how old I am. Again, the exact age is classified, but I am in my mid-early 20s. Oh, here's a fun one. The next question is, what is my favorite reenactment or vintage-related incident? This is a no-brainer for me. It was actually my first 1940s event, remembering World War II. And it is no longer going on, this event. And I actually went to the last one, but it was a reenactment put on by a very large, wonderful family, and they literally took over their town and had a battle and a street fair and all of these wonderful things, and I never actually went to that event. They had to scale back, and in 2021 they did a private get-together at their home, and I attended, and it was probably one of the best days of my life. And I know that that sounds a little cliche, but I went as a volunteer, and we stayed overnight on the Friday night, and I just ended up playing Foursquare that night and fixed my hair and got all 40s because I came from my modern day life. And while they actually took their entire convoy, which was like 8 to 12 or I don't know how many vehicles, in a convoy down to Sonic for dinner, and they came up the hill singing patriotic songs. So it was like a whole bunch of like Jeeps and like Chinese cars, and they were just singing like the national anthem, America the Beautiful, and it was just incredibly beautiful and patriotic, and I loved it. And that was Friday night. Saturday, our volunteering skills really clicked in, and we had to set up tables because they had lunch for the local World War II veterans, and of course I was a volunteer, so I had to help with that. And we started at 7 o'clock, and we just never stopped like rearranging and getting ready for this lunch and dinner. But it was just like that may be a lot of work, but it was so much fun to just hang out with people who loved the 40s as much as I. We honored the veterans that were coming by making them feel at home and have a nice, dinner table, nice decorations and that sort of thing. And then, to be honest with you, the most special part of it was actually the afternoon's activity. Since we were volunteers, we heard the call out for we're going to do games at 2. And I was like, that doesn't sound very appealing, because I was thinking it was going to be like the standard sack races and egg toss and that sort of thing, and that doesn't really appeal to me. But then they all started like driving the vintage cars to this area out front. Me explaining this does not do it justice, so there's actually a short done by the channel Echoes of the Past that kind of shows you what we were doing. I will link that down below, and it was just like this wonderful time of just wholesome fun, and it was wild and it was crazy and it was awesome. And I got to ride in a 1943 motorcycle, I got to ride in a 1929 like touring car, and then later on I rode in the back of a Willys Jeep with a whole bunch of people, because that's part of the games. And again, I cannot do justice explaining, so I would highly encourage you to watch that short. But we were spearing potatoes out of moving vehicles, and we were doing shoe races where we would drive to a certain point, drop a shoe off, the person whose shoe was left behind would jump in the car, and then the driver would drive to a certain part on the field, and then they would have to run back and grab that shoe and run back to the vehicle. Obviously they had an opponent doing the exact same thing, and then they would get back in the car, and the first car across the finish line would of course win. That was actually off the day I took my first steps in vintage dance, and I am by all means no expert in vintage dancing as of right now, but it was just so incredibly wonderful to have a vintage band. Just listening to the music, I learned so many vintage songs that night, and also, you know, learning how to dance has always been a life goal of mine. It was just a wonderful, wonderful day and weekend really in my life, and I will never forget it. And so sadly, this leads me to my final question, which is, what is something that people do that make you feel the most love? Maybe you noticed this by now, but I do tend to ramble. I talk out loud as I process things in my mind, and so if somebody is willing to sit down and deal with all of my ramblings and still be there for me, that really makes me feel special and loved. That is all I have for you today. If I forgot your question, I am so sorry. And I hope you enjoyed this video, this kind of one-on-one, kind of different video. But like I said at the beginning, this is my first anniversary, and so I kind of wanted to do something a little different and a little more celebratory than my usual videos. If you are new here, welcome to the family. You being here and showing your support for history, it means the absolute world to me. And if you want to keep in touch and follow me on any social media platform, I am on Instagram at _vintagelyyours3945, and on Facebook, and my username over there is the name of this channel, Vintagely Yours. And of course, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and hit that notification bell so we can all stay in touch and you can see my next video, which will be a fun one. Bye!